Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Yours truly. And Isis is here. Hello, Isis.
Hello.
How are you, pal?
Great.
Thank you for being here.
Excited to be here, Mike.
Much appreciated. Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. As I've said, there's some plans going forward, but I just don't like talking about that stuff until everything's cemented.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of a weird thing.
Yep.
But it is what it is. But more details, and hopefully Isis is still around whenever, you're always welcome whenever you want. So
For sure.
That's always good. A little chilly out there. I guess we're supposed to step into some big winter storm coming up here.
Yeah, I don't know. It was nice. I'm glad. I went on a walk today by my parents' house. We're lucky to live by some nature shit.
Yeah.
And I went on a walk, and it was I loved it. All snowy and shit. And,
icicles. Well, I literally last night signed up for something called, I believe it's Lawn Guru.
Gotcha.
And so I was looking for like snowplow for the season.
Right.
The one I
Yeah.
have charges a ridiculous amount for the season.
Yeah, and it wasn't just like it doesn't.
They came like twice last year.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You paid what you paid.
You paid what you paid. It's like, dude, I'm not paying $250 for a single snowplow.
Right.
This is and they didn't do that great of a job, I'll be honest with you. So anyways, I was looking at it, and I reached out to one a few weeks ago, and they were like, yeah, we're not accepting more people right now or something like that. So anyways, I went online again last night, and I was like, yeah, I just need a snowplow. And so they take your address, and they give you like an overhead view, and so they can give you an estimate on what it'll cost. And they do everything. They're like, oh, we do gutters, we do, if you need someone to come mow your lawn, whatever, snowplow. And I was like, yeah, snowplow. So I wake up this morning, and I can just see out the crack of my window. There's some icicles on the tree. I'm like, oh wow, we got a little snow or something. And I go out there, and there's, I don't know, half an inch on the ground, nothing big.
Yeah.
And as the morning's going on, like half of it's melted in my driveway already.
Yeah.
And then I get a text that so-and-so's on his way to plow your driveway.
Oh boy.
And I was like, plow my driveway?
Already?
And I'm like, I texted them, and I was like, hey, I don't think anyone needs to come plow the driveway. There's less than an inch on the ground, and half the driveway's bare already. It'll be gone in an hour.
Yeah.
Sure as shit, I look out there, Cece starts barking, and there's some dude in the driveway fucking shoveling.
Like shoveling?
Yeah, well, like a shovel. I mean, you couldn't pull a plow out. There was nothing to plow. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I texted him. I was like,
dude,
the guy was already here, but I mean, this is kind of absurd. Like, usually they won't do it until after a storm is completed.
Did you officially set it up where, hey, yes, come if I need it?
I said, yeah, if it snows and I need it, I don't want to do one of those things where it's like, oh, now I'm on a waiting list. And so it was like, no, just put me on your regular schedule for when there's a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And I think it said minimum 3 inches or something. And I was like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. You get 3 inches, and that's enough to plow.
For sure.
That's why, and so I text them, and I'm like,
anyway.
Yeah, right. 3 inches is typically not enough to
plow.
I
would say it's not enough.
But hey,
I think you could.
Some of us that have 3 inches, it's plenty enough to plow.
Do you think? I'm sure someone with 3. I mean, they can have socks, but could they be plowing?
I don't know about plowing.
3 inches.
I'm not sure how that works. We'd have to ask the ladies.
I'm not good at socks, but luckily enough, I don't have a micro penis, so at least I don't have that going.
Yeah. That's next level. I mean, is that more when you're rock? And if you're a micro at rock, does that exist where you're like this? Where you're
dude. I know we talked about it in the past.
I mean, there's got to be something for everybody. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like and I have heard, and I'm not trying to make excuses for myself or anything like that, but I have heard 2 inches is enough to satisfy a chick. Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you've got a fucking solid, just a rock solid 2, that you can get to any of the points needed, there's probably chicks guffawing at their wherever they're.
Well, here's the
right
thing,
now.
though. Having said it, I never quite got it, but I tried to write a joke about the premise of that, where it's like, girls, like, look, I'm not saying it's such an. If you are a dude with an actual legit micro, it's not like, oh, I'm just kind of average or what. Are you, like, you got a shit problem. Like, That is such a terrible situation to be in because
Yeah.
there's really no way to fix it. You don't know when you're going to bring it up. When are you supposed to bring this up to a girl?
First,
When are
is
you
this a
not
first
supposed to
date
bring it
thing?
up?
Is this wait till she falls in love and then let her know?
And when girls, like, if any girl has a problem with, here's a problem, like, dude, like, oh, well, girls get insecure about, smaller breasts. That doesn't mean shit.
Not even close.
You could be
Not even
flat-breasted
close.
and the guy's going to fuck you.
Yeah, yeah.
Guys like boobs, but not even all guys even need, like, so, like,
no,
for
if you've got a situation where you're going betwixt titties, if you're trying to do that titty thing, and you can't pop out the other side, that's a problem. Like, that guy shouldn't try
for
that.
girls, I just would say, like, dude, the level of shit it must be for a guy if you really have a bad situation. Because when are you supposed to say something?
Well, we've talked about it before too,
I know.
and every single guy listening, I don't care how good they are or how like or who they are, it doesn't matter. Every guy knows the shame of like, oh boy,
yeah,
in 4 seconds it's over.
Right.
Like, every guy knows that, which is why you and I came up with every guy should be given a second chance.
Yeah.
Like, same day second chance. Like, hold on, that's not a fair representation
for sure
of what I'm capable of.
Yeah, I mean,
it is and any guy that tells you, oh, that's never happened to me, that's bullshit. That guy's lying.
Yeah. But and I always say, like, what I used to say too is like, do you think guys like I did used to try to say on stage a lot. Like, a guy goes through almost most of the situation, right? Like, you have to get these, most of it. If you're not a celebrity, if you're not rich, you got to get all this courage up and ask, for me, maybe 100 girls out before someone says yes. Then you got to take them on a date and do all this shit. I'm doing. And then, like, you get there and it doesn't last as long as you want. And it's like, oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
She's got girls don't even understand what an advantage it is.
The amount of pressure it is.
The chick, it's like, oh my God, I've never done this before. It's like, it doesn't matter that much. Just lay there.
Yeah.
You could just lay there and you'll be fine.
Right.
It's not like she's going to lay there and after 2 seconds go, I'm done. I can't perform right now.
Exactly.
Like, guys can run into that all the time.
Exactly. And look, I know that I famously am probably not very good
lousy.
at it, but it's like, I always say this, it's not like, but for a lot of like situations, like, there's a lot of pressure that leads up to this moment. And you're right. They just have to, they're good no matter what. They're just there.
Yeah.
Even the worst girl who's the most laziest one, it doesn't really matter. You know? And so, like, to me, it's like, whoa, dude, you think that's what I want? You think I wanted to ask all these girls out and spend money on a date and be nervous and then underperform sexually? Yeah. That's exactly what I was
that's
hoping.
a bummer. That sucks on every level.
It does.
And
Anyway, sorry, back to your
No, that's okay, but I don't know are there such things as microvagines? Can you have something where it's like, I didn't want to say anything, I don't know when I should bring this up, but I've got a microvagine, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
What would be the equivalent? Because I don't think that's probably true. Other than the only thing, I guess, if you're a guy who's too hung and then it's like they don't like, you have a hard time because girls, I guess
I've heard from girls about that too. Not from me personally.
Of course, but, I mean, according to Larry David, remember there was the big vagine.
Oh yeah, I think that's a real issue. Giant vagines.
Yeah, so he's like, maybe it's too. I forget how that episode goes, but he's like.
She was like this, and he was like, extra wide vagine.
Oh my God.
So, anyways, the snowplow people, I thought I was just like, really? I mean, and there's really no more to the story, but they came and plowed, and so I texted
them. What did they say?
Him.
I mean, in the end,
I never talked to him.
He just said, "Oh well."
It's just like a card on file, so they're just going to charge it. I'm like, this seems obnoxious.
Are you going to send a text now? Like,
I did.
Hey, can you let me know next time?
I did, and I said, what am I supposed to do in the future? Because I had texted them, and they were like, oh, this is an automated number. If you want to text someone, use this number. I was like, okay. And so I texted that number, and I said, hey, I'm new to the surface, but there was really no need to come plow. This is not plowing by any stretch. I wouldn't have touched it. I just, and it was mostly melted anyways. And
no, this was not a day that
she's like, hey, really sorry about that. Well, I'll give you a coupon for like the next one free or something.
Gotcha.
And I was like, okay, that's good. So I guess that means they've already charged the card, and then
right.
So I was like, okay. That's cool. I said, what do I do in the future if you guys send me a text like, hey, Johnny's on his way?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, this is nothing.
Yeah.
She said, just send skip.
Gotcha.
And we'll skip you. So
okay.
I guess that's the thing. But that's, how my day went.
Yeah,
that was the highlight.
That is some first world problems for sure, but it is a good situation. I mean, it's a tricky deal.
Yeah,
I like shoveling personally, but I don't do it. I don't know.
Too many people have heart attacks.
They do have
stuff.
it. I will say that's a real thing
that,
for sure.
So.
And when you get that cold, wet, or not cold, but like wet snow, thick, wet snow. That I could understand where that's really probably not good
Super
for you,
heavy.
dude. Like you don't like one shovel can probably be. I'd like to see if they did studies. I'm sure they have done studies on how much it can actually be weight wise.
Oh,
like
before you snap a shovel.
50, 100 pounds almost. I wouldn't doubt it.
No, I'm not sure, but I've had a lot going on. A lot of I can't believe how many appointments and things I've had to schedule. But I'm excited, man. I've woken up the last few days really excited about the future, and about what's going on around here, and I haven't been able to say that for years.
Yeah, that's good.
I find putting one foot in front of the other and just taking care of the responsibilities I have. And,
right.
You know, we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure I'll be miserable in no time, but for right now,
I've been asking my friends recently.
Pretty good place
recently. This like, and I'm not gonna ask you because it's just because of what we do. But I've been asking my friends recently, like, when do you wake up? Like on a weekend. Let's say you don't have to work, right? When do you wake up? And I asked them, like, do you wake up naturally? Because I am someone who I don't know if we've ever. I'm sure we've talked about it, but I don't sleep. Like,
no, I know you get up early, 6 in the morning.
But I wake up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah,
honestly, and stuff like that. And
honestly,
I'm always curious when people wake up and like how they wake up because I don't.
I like lazily leaning into the day. I'm sure that's a big shock to a lot of people listening. But I would be just fine if we did the show at midnight.
I know.
Like, I just would.
Yeah.
And I feel like I get more energy as the day goes on.
Right.
And so this is kind of the end of my day is like once this gets in the can.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like, okay, I can relax now. I don't have to worry about, what am I going to do? What are we going to talk about? All that kind of stuff weighs on you. And so when that's over, but I like staying up till 2 a.m, 3 a.m,
right?
Shit like that. That doesn't bother me. So if I sleep till noon, that's fine.
Can you do that for real?
Yeah, I can. I don't sleep great to begin with.
Yeah.
I've got a appointment with a sleep doctor coming up.
Yeah.
Like in a week or two.
Because you had the apnea, right?
Yeah, and I still do. I still snore, and I broke my machine, so I've got to do something. But and that was a lifesaver too. That machine.
Could you tell the difference?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Not as far as like they're like, oh my God, you'll have so much more energy, blah blah blah. But I could sleep through the night.
Okay.
And I could feel myself breathing well because it closes your mouth and you're just breathing through your nose and getting oxygen, which is really good. And it's hard because when you're alone, if you've got a girlfriend there or something, a wife, who's going, oh my God, you're snoring all night long. Like if you're alone, Cece's not going to tell me anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, maybe I wasn't snoring. But then when I get around family, my sister's like, oh, yeah, I could hear you from my room upstairs.
Right.
I could hear you snoring.
I will say that was one thing I paid attention to because I don't have an issue falling asleep. I fall asleep in a minute, dude. I fall asleep in like a fucking within minutes.
Yeah, but I have to have the TV on.
I don't even have to. But my point is, like, I've never had a problem falling asleep. It's just that I'll wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And whatever, right?
I hate that.
And so I asked my buddies when I was on the trip, I'm like, do I snore? And they said maybe here and there. But my point was, that was my way of ruling out whether I had sleep apnea, in my opinion. Because sleep apnea, apparently, it's very obvious. Like, you, literally
choke
stop
yourself,
breathing.
Stop breathing.
And so, I was regularly going to bed at 9 o'clock while those guys might be up in the hotel until 10 or 11.
Right.
So my point is, I'm like, well, they would notice if there was
and when it's really bad,
issue.
I've heard from people that, like before.
Yeah.
It was really bad. Now mine's more consistent. It's like you can just measure it like.
What I have started doing, I will say, is recently I've decided that because I work my own schedules, I just do the food delivery and and this and stuff. So it's not like I have to be anywhere.
Yeah.
And so what I've started doing is picking 1 or 2 days a week, where I swear to God, I force myself to stay in bed till 6 or 7.
Jeez.
And I can't scroll my phone. I can put on guided meditation shit, which I do sometimes.
Yeah.
But I really will make myself just sit in the bed and close my eyes because my thought is if I finally do that enough, maybe I could get to a point where at least once a week I could wake up at 7 instead of 4:35.
See, for me, dude, I have no problem. Sometimes I'll set an alarm. If I've stayed up really late, like the other day when I got home at 1:30 in the morning and was up till 5.
Yeah.
I set an alarm because it's I don't want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. So you force yourself to somehow get through the
get up at
jet
11.
lag and
I'm going to set my alarm and get 6 hours and try to get up at 11.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
Because I think I'm famous. I don't know if I've ever said it on this show. I probably have, but like I don't use an alarm ever.
No.
I've set
I
one,
don't
think,
anymore
like
either.
5 times in my life.
That was a pact I made with myself when I left morning radio.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like, never again will I be a slave to this fucking alarm. I had
But see,
10
but it
alarm
would wake you
clocks.
up, though.
I had bone crusher alarms,
Yeah.
ones you had to throw across the room. And usually it was probably because I was too high to fucking wake
Right.
up, like shit like that
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
help.
Well, that will help you sleep, I guess.
Well, it'll
alcohol
keep,
never does
it'll
it to
keep,
me.
No, not alcohol. I wasn't doing alcohol though. I was doing other shit.
No, I was.
So-
Yeah.
So that would keep me awake. I would stay up late, and then I couldn't get up in the morning. And that never happened before I was doing that stuff.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
know it was
I
that was
gotcha.
a contributing factor.
But I've just been real. Like I said, honestly, I've been asking my friends. Just as a I just started being curious. Like,
Yeah,
when
I get
do you
it.
wake up? And do you like?
and everybody's different.
Yeah, it's
So,
just weird. I don't know.
I imagine I'll have some trouble sleeping this weekend. Perhaps I'm so excited about
I don't know if
playoffs starting this weekend.
I don't know if I'll be able to sleep Saturday, but we'll
No,
see.
I know.
We'll see. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. But thank God that's a late game. The Lions is the late game.
I'd
I think
rather
they
have it
did that
be-
on purpose, which I love. I love being the late game, the final game.
I wish they were 4, but whatever.
Well,
it's just
yeah.
it's just too much in the day. That's all. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
Just-
there's
I
a
just
lot in the day. So sleep till noon, and then it's not so bad.
Can't. You just discussed it.
I know. That's what
I'll be up
what you
at
gotta
fucking
do.
3.
Yeah. No, it's going to be exciting, man. I just hope. Please don't lay an egg. Please
I know.
don't lay an egg. Please don't lay an egg.
You know what's funny? What would I was about to say this. Just don't get embarrassed. But then I was going to say, would you rather get embarrassed or have it be a nail biter where I'm fucking having a heart attack? You know
No,
what I mean?
nail
That's a
biter
tough-
for
I
sure.
know-
You don't want to get embarrassed.
I know,
that
but
totally
there's
sucks.
an aspect of it to me though that like a last minute
Yeah.
touchdown pass
No,
or something.
people are dying to be able to go, see, told you, same old Lions.
Yeah.
They did it. Brock Purdy was like, and his numbers still put him at MVP level, right?
Right.
As far as you take the whole season, you look at the stats, you look what he's done, it's historic.
Yeah.
MVP. And as soon as he had that Christmas game against Lamar, everything went out the window, and you wouldn't believe, because I watch a lot of that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the amount of people who couldn't wait to jump on a microphone and go, see, he's a product of the system. He's a game manager, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I guarantee those same people that are keeping their mouths shut, sort of like, oh, yeah, this Lions team's pretty good. They can't wait to come out Monday morning and go, see, same old Lions.
I knew it.
Yeah, I knew it all along, blah, blah, blah. Like, they just can't
And
wait.
you know what's funny
So-
is in the worst days, I never would have gotten to that point personally. I knew that if they ever had a good season, I would care.
Yeah.
So I've never been the person who would want to
I wonder
maybe
if Jay
Henson.
cares right now. I wonder if Jay's paying attention.
That'd be a great question, man.
Yeah.
I really would care.
I'll text him. I'll ask
Yeah,
him.
like, are you caring? Are you watching at all on any level?
Yeah, he
or-
could lie and say no, but I bet
I
he
don't
is.
think he would. Though.
Dude,
I
he
think
was too big of a Lions fan.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, he was that guy.
the only thing I would.
He was
yeah,
that dude.
I will say the length of the games, just based on how he was here near the end, and I even get it myself. As like I said, I'd watch soccer personally. The games are so much shorter, but when you care, it's fun. But if you don't care, they just are such long games. They just take so
Yeah.
long. I mean, if you care, I get it. But if you're to watch,
Yeah,
another
I care
game-
too much.
I know.
I just do. It's my sport.
I get it.
It is what it is. Interesting stuff going on this week in the world of sports and sports media. I don't know if you've paid attention at all to Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock.
Not
Their
really,
war
yeah.
of words. Holy shit.
What are they fighting about?
They're going hard in the paint at each other. Just, Stephen A. Smith's doing his podcast, calling him a fat bastard and a bitch.
Who is the guy that you're
Jason Whitlock, he's on Blaze
Okay.
Media, which is Glenn Beck's network.
Okay.
More conservative black guy,
Okay, yeah,
religious.
yeah, okay.
He wrote for the Kansas City Star,
Yeah. He used to be on like I feel like
Fox Sports. He was
Okay,
on
yeah,
ESPN.
yeah.
He's been on everything.
okay, yeah.
And he and Stephen A. Smith are going back and forth. But Whitlock is a real journalist, okay?
Yeah.
He's like a legit writer, journalist. And so Stephen A. Smith's book has recently come out, and this dude went hard in the paint yesterday, the last couple days, about Stephen A.
Gotcha.
Myth. He's calling him Stephen A. Myth. And he's breaking down these stories that Stephen A. tells in his book, and he's like,
Oh, really?
this is bullshit. This didn't happen.
What did Stephen A. Smith do? I honestly don't
Well, they've really-
no, but was
and
he a
I've-
player? I mean,
I've noticed this. He says he played college basketball at William and St. Mary or some bullshit.
Some small ass college.
D2 college, which is fine.
Yeah,
fine. But he's like, I didn't make my high school team as a junior. And then he tells this elaborate story about playing a pickup game in front of the coach, and I hit 17 threes in a row, and they gave me a scholarship on the spot.
Really?
And it's like, that's not really how the process works.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that.
Gotcha.
You know, ESPN at one point.
But he's been a journalist mostly his life. He didn't
Stephen
play
A?
any professional anything.
No,
He's just been a journalist.
No. And they showed video. So Whitlock shows video of him like meeting with his old teammates.
Yeah.
And they're all like buddies of his. And Steven's towering over these guys. He's like 6'1". This is supposed to be a college basketball program.
Right.
And these guys, like 3 of the 5 are shorter than Stephen A. and the other 2 were like an inch taller.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know many high school basketball teams that would have that sort of size. Where you would be the tower on the team.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be the biggest guy by inches on the team. It just seems weird. So all this stuff, but it's been fascinating to watch these two go at it. And, you know, I'll let you guys get into it. I'm not going to pull clips and all that kind of shit, but it's just,
I will say
it's kind of fascinating to see these, because I've always liked Whitlock. I've always liked his writing.
Yeah.
I've always liked his commentary. I think he's a smart guy. Whether these people like working with him or not, or if there's how much truth there is to that, I don't know.
I love this. So when I looked up Jason Whitlock, because I wanted to see what he looked like, and I did recognize him.
Yeah. I think he was a lineman, by the way. I think he played some college football as a lineman. He's like a 300-pound dude.
Well, they show the top stories here on Google, and it says ESPN's, and this is one from someplace. I don't fucking know what news place this is, but it just says ESPN Stephen A. Smith nukes pro-Trump sports support.
Yeah.
Pro-Trump sports. Blah blah. What does that? Is that what the beef is?
I
about?
watched both, and this idea that Stephen A. Smith nuked him is hilarious.
But that's my point. Like, why is pro-Trump relevant? Is that what the fight is about?
Because you can just say it, and then you'll
so then people know. Oh, he's bad.
These are the same people that are saying Whitlock hates black people because he's not just going to give black people a free pass.
Yeah.
When they behave like assholes.
Gotcha.
Right. He's not just going to go, oh, he's a black athlete acting like an asshole. Can't call him out because he's black.
Right.
He's not going to give those free passes. And so the automatic step to that is, oh, he must hate black people. It's like, okay, we're doing this again?
Yeah.
You know, this is the Larry Elders, the black face of white supremacy.
Right.
That nonsense. It's kind of that. So whether or not, you know, and the people that Stephen A. is referencing is like, oh, they hate Whitlock. I'm like, yeah, well, I can't stand them either.
Yeah.
You know, they seem like, you know, whatever. But it's funny seeing Stephen A. Smith come unhinged. And I think Whitlock has done some pretty deep research.
Yeah.
And has found as many articles as he can going back to these college and high school days.
Yeah.
To try and cross-reference Stephen A. Smith's stories.
Yeah.
And
oh boy.
yeah. Now, if anyone gave a shit, if anyone in the media cared to do a deep dive, they could. It's called journalism. I mean, if anybody actually wanted to do journalism, I bet there's some extreme exaggeration about Stephen A.'s career.
Sounds like it based on, I mean, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I didn't do the research, but I got to tell you, I tend to believe Whitlock.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, by the time Stephen A. Smith was on the scene, I've just never been I don't watch a lot of sports.
No,
TV
me either.
For the most part, I don't really care. I just watch the games.
Yeah.
I know what I want, whatever. So
I think a lot of people are doing that, man. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that very thing. Like, who's watching these fucking
the
talking
only
heads
time
anymore?
I do, honestly, is like this week, because the Lions are in this big game, like I'll click over on ESPN and they have to be talking about our game.
Yeah,
and I kind of listen because that's fun.
Sure,
but that's the only. But I'm not watching.
But there's no consequences when you're dead wrong about something.
Yeah,
like these people, it amazes me how they can absolutely have the strongest opinion. I guarantee it. Blah blah blah, and then they're fucking dead wrong. And there's
it's just sports. So
I know exactly. But it's like if you want to talk about it afterwards, and you want to talk about why these coaching decisions made the team, you know, the game go this way, and how that failed them, and you want to call out stuff like that after the fact, that's fine. But beforehand, it's like these guys are so into what they're doing, and this guy sucks.
Well, I think it's because it's a product.
And it just doesn't make any sense.
But it's a product of the fact that there's all these streaming services, there's internet and Twitter, and everyone does their own podcast anyway. So you have to come out. You can't just come out. You have to have absolute outrageous hot takes. And they have to be daily. It can't It cannot just be like. yeah, I think this is going to be a close one.
It's just kind of annoying, but I know more and more people that absolutely are not watching any of it. They're like, fuck these people. I'm going to watch the game. I hear that all the time. I'm going to watch the game. And that's what I find myself doing. I'm not watching
and maybe
Sunday morning countdown on ESPN anymore. I'm not watching game day on Saturday. It's like, what time's my team playing? I'll tune in then.
And then post game's different. If you want, watch obviously legit highlights or the press conference. If your team win, if they lose, I'm not one who likes to watch it. But if the Lions were to win this week, I would definitely rush home and watch all the highlights and soak it all in for sure.
And dude, it gets more fun the deeper your team goes when there's less teams to talk about.
I hope
they spend a ton of time on your team. I've done it a ton of times with the Niners who have had these deep runs, and it's awesome.
I have enjoyed it when I've been. I had a talk. I don't think I even said on the show, but I had to talk to myself. I got really bummed that I didn't. Maybe I did say it yesterday. I don't remember. That I didn't get as into the Michigan win as I feel like I would have in the past, and I kind of sad about it. But I will say I liked being at Planet Fitness in the morning. It's been fun since I've been back because both our college team and our football team have been worthy of mentioning once in a while. So like when I'm going in there and they always have sports centers on there, and it's generic sports, whatever. Yep. And it's cool seeing our logos. Like I like it when I see them being talked about on there. So that's
your team.
Kind of cool, but I don't watch, and I wouldn't watch necessarily, like you said, game day or anything.
Have you followed any of the Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers?
By the way,
Jimmy Kimmel shit.
I think I don't know much about Pat McAfee. The other two are both douchebags, obviously, but I just found out that Pat McAfee was an actual kicker. I didn't even really know what his role ever was.
He was kind of a badass punter, too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the guy that would go down and blow someone up.
Okay.
Like, legit, if you watch highlights of Pat McAfee, he's no bullshit. He's out there lighting people up and shit. It's funny to watch because you don't expect it from a punter.
Yeah. So I didn't even realize he was a player. I knew he must have been something. I feel like I didn't really know where he came from, but I'm like, he must have done. And finally, during the national championship game, they showed like a highlight of his. I'm like, oh,
yeah, he was a
Colts, he did
Colts
something.
punter for a long time.
But
West Virginia, I think he went to college.
I'm kind of familiar with what's going on. I mean, obviously, like I said,
weird.
they're both douchebags to me, so it's a tough spot.
Which sucks because I really used to like Kimmel, and now he just has this. I don't know what this attitude is about. Anybody who's conservative is just like the biggest piece of shit on planet Earth.
If you wanted to go into a real,
it's just crazy to me because that dude was that guy. Like when you talk about privilege and misogyny, like he's the definition of it. He was his entire career.
Yeah.
His entire career. And now it's like anybody that disagrees with him, is some sort of monster. And that's what he's done with Aaron Rodgers,
I think if you wanted to go into a conspiracy theory, if you wanted to create one, you could create one about him that somewhere, like even though we all know like the list coming out of Epstein and nothing's going to happen, but maybe even within their own cult, they have to like have information on people. And maybe they got enough dirt on him that he cannot,
go against the grain.
Go against anything.
Well, that's a conspiracy theory.
I'm just saying because he seems like he's so over the top now, like such a change in philosophy.
Yeah, well, exactly. And Kim, I think a lot of those people realized they could get ratings they weren't getting.
Yeah.
During the Trump shit, if they just
Colbert
wailed on Trump.
Obviously.
Colbert is the biggest example of it. Colbert,
because he was doing regular shows, right?
Kind of,
and he just wasn't doing good.
And then he just like it's kind of like whatever.
I'm sorry.
No. But that's what he did. He started to hit Trump a little bit, and everyone was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, and all of a sudden his ratings went up, and which is why these guys. I mean, if they're being completely honest, they'd probably love Trump to win.
Yeah,
because then they could act like, oh my God, it's the apocalypse, the world's gonna end.
It'll give him something to talk about every day.
Yeah, he's gonna bring us to war. Like, dude, you do realize you have a 4-year resume, to see what the guy was doing, right?
Yeah.
Like this idea that he's Hitler and he's gonna put people in concentration
I
camps.
know I've told this story.
It's fucking hilarious.
I am sure that I've told this story here before, but when I was in Charleston, I was going on a walking tour. It was so funny because we showed at one point the guy goes, "Oh, in this really nice house in old time Charleston, expensive ass Charleston. Oh, this is where Stephen Colbert's grandparents grew up, or something like, or you know what I mean? Yeah, it was like he was lived there as a kid, or his grandparents did, and this was a fucking." Dude, where this was a very nice situation and a very nice place in Charleston. And Charleston, a lot of its history comes from slavery.
Yeah.
You know, the wealth that it has. And he had grandparents or he lived there as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really, Mr. fucking Colbert?
Yeah.
How nice.
Colbert, by the way.
Right, yeah. Well,
But Pat McAfee has had Aaron Rodgers on like every Tuesday.
yeah, I know.
And Pat is kind of irritating. I don't hate him, but there's some like real like.
My mom has ESPN on regularly, and I always
Really?
see my mom actually like watches a lot of sports.
Yeah.
She actually really likes it, and so she'll have it on. And every time I do know when Aaron Rodgers is there on Tuesdays because I'll walk in the room and I'll see him there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fucking douchebag.
Well, I guess the story goes that McAfee had Aaron Rodgers on early on, and then gave him like a $500,000 bonus or something. Was like, hey, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
That's how well McAfee's show is doing.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know, and so he was like, holy shit. And so he's been on every Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he gets into this fight with Kimmel, blah, blah, blah. And they announce on the show that the season is over for Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be on anymore Tuesdays. He announced that the weekly guest appearance by Rodgers was done for the rest of the season. He said he was personally happy about it. There could be a lot of people that are happy with it, myself included, to be honest with you. The way it ended, it got real loud, real loud. I'm happy that it's not going to be my mentions. He's not going to be in my mentions going forward, which is great news. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP. He's a massive piece of the NFL story. Whenever you go back and tell it, he'll be a part of it. We're very lucky to get the chance to chat with him, learn from him, blah, blah, blah. On Friday, I obviously threw us into the fire as well. He says he claimed a top ESPN executive, Norby Williamson, was attempting to sabotage his show. I forever stand by that. Everything else, though, just can't do that. I'm not what we want to be known for. So Kimmel had threatened to sue him. And the way this went down, I guess, is on the McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers said something about, oh, yeah, I bet some people like Jimmy Kimmel would be thrilled if the Epstein list doesn't come out.
Right.
Which is definitely a way of saying if that list did come out, his name would be on it. And then that would link you to pedophilia.
Right.
You can see how Jimmy Kimmel would take offense at that and be pissed. I get that. But the fact is,
Unless he's on it.
Unless he's on it. My guess is he's not. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
What do I know? But at the same time, Jimmy Kimmel has been lighting up Aaron Rodgers for years now.
Gotcha.
Ever since the COVID shit.
Yeah.
He can't wait to fucking pound lumps on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers is probably had enough.
Right.
Would be my guess. And makes this cheap shot at him about, the client list is coming out. I'll be popping champagne when that happens. And I bet people like Kimmel are glad it hasn't come out or something like that. Stupid thing to say. How many people believed it and think Jimmy Kimmel's on that list?
Well, you could argue. I would argue that even if he's not on the list, the job he does, he knows people that come on the show regularly are on the list.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right about that. It's a good point, Isis. So there's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, really hoping that client list doesn't come out. I'll tell you what, if that list comes out, I definitely will be popping some sort of bottle. So some champagne. Kimmel responded and he wrote on Twitter or X, whatever. Dear asshole.
Oh, boy.
For the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up and we'll debate the facts further in court.
By the way,
in court.
Oh, sorry.
He's called him hamster-brained. He said, his grades in school, he got 2 A's and they were both in the name Aaron.
What does that matter?
Yeah.
He's more successful than you.
Yeah.
And he's done that, and he's done it on his own. But
yeah. And he doesn't have 100 writers writing for him.
And by the way, when he said, just not to go back to my thing there, but when he says like, I've never been on the plane, I have no contact with. What did he say? Did he say no contact with anyone that has been?
Well, contact he definitely has.
What I was going to say. So
he says,
I'm just curious.
I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein.
Okay, well,
so no contact.
That he could probably say if he feels confident in that situation. But
now this thing about the ESPN executive. So he brings up Pat McAfee. I'm sorry, this is a little confusing.
Yeah.
ESPN executive Norby Williamson. I think Aaron said something like, hey, this ESPN exec needs to stay out of this.
Right.
Because he said, well, what Aaron said was really stupid.
Yeah.
And Aaron said to that guy, I don't think it was Norby Williamson, but Aaron had said something along the lines of, this guy needs to shut up and stay out of it. You're not helping.
Yeah, yeah.
So Norby Williamson is another ESPN executive. And I believe Pat, if Pat says he was attempting to sabotage this show, I forever stand by that. Everything else, though, just can't do that. Not what we want to be known for.
Gotcha.
Here's the thing. And it's the beauty of podcasting, which is what McAfee started out as. Half the fun is not having anyone to answer to.
Right.
And when you've got big personality people, they don't want to answer to people.
Yeah.
They don't like being told what to do. And I know this personally. I know this myself. It's like, leave me the fuck alone and let me do what we do. That's how we felt on the Drew and Mike show.
Yeah.
Let us know if we've got a lawsuit pending. But other than that, fucking leave us alone. We don't need meetings with you. We don't need your input. I don't need to know what your thoughts are on this phone call or that bit.
Yeah.
Or how we wrote this.
Yeah.
Fuck all of that. Absolutely, Pat McAfee's going to feel that way. And these ESPN executives or executives at any level of media are always going to want to be able to say, oh, yeah, I established that show.
Right.
I helped build that show.
My suggestion for this.
My suggestion helped drive. They all do it. And they're all basically fucking worthless. Run the company, sell what you have, the product you have to sell, make sure the sales team's on board, make sure the marketing department's doing their thing. You can be an executive like that, but these guys are never going to be cool. And if you're not playing ball with them, that's when it's like someone would try to sabotage you.
Right.
Now they don't like you and big egos get involved and they're going to, but Pat McAfee, I think his show is worth $400 billion.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't give a shit. ESPN needs him way more than he needs ESPN.
I would say that for sure.
Way more. The fact that he's doing noon to 2 or whatever on ESPN, that benefits ESPN more than Pat McAfee across the board.
Yeah.
He doesn't need game day on Saturday mornings. He doesn't need to be on ESPN at noon. You know, it's fine if that marriage works, but if it doesn't, Pat McAfee will be just fine.
Right, right.
You know why? Because content is king. If you can put on a good show and market it properly yourself, you're just fine. Which is the whole game. And people are learning a lot that you don't need these people. You don't need these executives, these high-end guys.
That they want, like you said, they don't have, for whatever reason, they don't have the talent.
Yeah.
They're not funny enough. They're not clever enough. Whatever the deal is, but. And for a long time they got
those
to get
who
away
can't
with
do
it.
teach
Right.
that kind of thing.
And for a long time they really got to get away with it because you couldn't just put yourself out there on a platform. You couldn't just make something.
No, you couldn't.
They were like the gatekeepers. on
So
some level.
I mentioned this because Aaron Rodgers returned to the Pat McAfee show today.
Did he really?
Yeah. And all I can think is, so less than 24 hours after this ban, my guess is they told Pat, look, this guy's a fucking problem. Every time he comes on, he's going to spout some shit about COVID. And by the way, if you watch what Aaron Rodgers said, and I've been very vocal about not being a fan of Aaron Rodgers on this show. I understand that it's not a Packers thing.
Yeah.
It's an Aaron Rodgers thing that I've had a problem with. I like him more now than I ever did before. I think it's fucking weird when you don't talk to anyone in your family. That's fucking weird. As much success as the Rodgers family has had, you can't work things out with your mom and dad or your brother. That, to me, speaks volumes about, like, come on, bro, what are we doing? Now, if you said, a family member raped my daughter,
right?
And it's like they took his side.
Yeah.
Then you're talking, but that's
not what happened.
No,
I'm sure of that.
No, but I think it was like, they want autographed jerseys and like. I just can't imagine the scenario.
I think Aaron's I think he's a douchebag, to be honest with you. I think that's what
that's fair. That's fine. But he's a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. He's a nightmare to face no matter what, no matter when. He's that dude. He's so good. So it's not his talent. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl champ. But he stuck his neck out there during COVID.
Yeah.
And the more Kimmel calls him a fucking hamster-brained and stupid and, he didn't graduate from college, all that bullshit that Jimmy Kimmel says all the time. When you look at what Aaron's actually saying, who's been more right about COVID?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers or fucking Jimmy Kimmel. Well, I can promise you, it's Aaron Rodgers. So you can keep taking shots at him and acting like he's an idiot. And, that's not how this works, Jimmy. When you go, oh, he thinks he's smarter than scientists now. I love that argument when people say that. Anybody that decided to look for themselves at what was going on with the COVID stuff because it felt fucking wrong. Every time we did, and we did those stories, people would go, oh, I guess you're a virologist now. No, but I can read. I don't need to be a virologist to be able to read some of the papers that were banned in this country for out of Uttar Pradesh and see what they were doing in India to deal with COVID when they didn't have access to your vaccines.
Yeah.
Your wonderful, safe, perfect vaccine that turns out was nonsense, bullshit, money grab, however you want to look at it. I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room, but I'm able to read. And so was Aaron Rodgers. And so was a lot of people. Just because Joe Rogan said it doesn't mean Joe Rogan thinks he's smarter than every doctor on earth.
Right.
No, but he interviewed a lot of really smart doctors. And if you refuse to believe that, if you refuse to acknowledge that, you just want to, it's easier to call Aaron Rodgers hamster brained. Fine. But the more time goes on, the more Fauci looks like a crook and Aaron Rodgers looks like, yeah, maybe he knew something. Maybe he's saying the same shit that a lot of us were saying at the time and didn't like being told what to do and how to behave and stay inside or wear a mask. Like all that stuff is coming out now as bullshit. I had stories yesterday. Fauci's even admitting, the mask thing was kind of bullshit. And the 6 feet, that was kind of based in nothing. It's like, yeah. Oh, and Fauci's now admitting that, it probably came from a lab in Wuhan. Yeah. No shit, dickhead. I didn't need to be a virologist or a master in science to know that. How come we were saying it 3 years ago? Fauci?
I will. That is the funniest, I would say. By the way, real quick, Jimmy Kimmel attended and was a disc jockey at University of Nevada and Arizona State, but he left both schools before graduating. So he's not a college graduate. But
he loved to point out that Aaron Rodgers went to junior college, like that's a swipe, and then which is what he meant. What's funny about that? He went to Cal, but didn't graduate.
You know what's funny about that?
I obviously couldn't care less.
You can make fun of him but think about what you're doing technically by making that joke. You're insinuating that anyone that's gone to a community college
is an idiot.
Is just an idiot,
hamster brain.
And you're able to tell us you're just downplaying a whole swath of people.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
I know
they like to do that a lot.
But he didn't graduate these colleges.
Huh? Interesting.
I will say, the thing about when he say that I don't pay attention to any of this, but when you say that he started to come out about the lab thing, it is kind of funny because I have said that to a few friends where it's like, we had a disease that shut down the entire planet.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about where did it come from?
How and why?
I mean, even if it was all on not the up and up, but let's say it was just a mistake.
Shut up, MAGA.
Let's say it was a mistake. Let's say they were working on something, it fucked up, and it happened. Let's just say that was, and I know that's probably not what happened even, but
it probably is what happened, actually.
Well, let's just say it was absolutely a mistake, right? They were working on some shit, it got out.
Yeah, sloppy lab, and it got out.
Right, so it shuts down the entire planet for a few months, and we have no care in the world. We're not looking into this. Hurt the economies, shut down the economies. Where'd that come from?
When you start putting the dots together, when you start connecting the dots, it makes perfect sense as to what happened. It really does. Like, this probably leaked. I don't think this was some bioterrorism incident. We don't need to go through all this again. But
right. No, I know.
But it probably leaked. And, then you look at China's behavior, the way they shut off the rest of the travel between Wuhan and the rest of China.
Yeah.
You couldn't fly domestically in China out of Wuhan, but you could from Wuhan anywhere else in the world.
Right.
Why did they do that?
Right.
Because they didn't want to infect their people. They didn't give a shit about America.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They didn't give a shit about Europe or anywhere else that people were traveling to.
For sure.
And then when you look at the disease itself and you look at Big Pharma, I mean, you don't have to watch more than a half hour of television to know what their influence is on the entire landscape of media.
Right.
Whether it's magazines, radio, television, podcasts, it's everywhere. It makes up 80% of your goddamn advertising.
Right.
So that money being spent, of course they're getting something for that money. It's not that they're hoping you'll go fucking ask for, whatever pill from your doctor. It's the influence they have.
Yeah.
And so then when you go, okay, we know right away that there's nothing that's out there that's ever been made. That was the whole emergency relief authorization.
Yeah.
That only applies if there's nothing else that's already on the market that could help.
Right.
So for them to just blanket shut down everything, that's why ivermectin had to be horse paste.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. We remember monoclonal antibodies didn't work. All those things. All that shit. They didn't tell you to exercise, eat better, get vitamin C, vitamin D,
still don't,
zinc.
by the way.
They still don't. No,
cares.
those are things that could help.
Go get DoorDash.
No,
Get
what they
McDonald's.
wanted you to do was take this fucking shot, and they made themselves $1 trillion doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a virologist to understand how that playbook was playing out. And there were very few people that could get on TV and even say that. They'd kick us off YouTube. They'd kick you off Twitter. They'd boot you off Facebook. Aaron Rodgers was one of the few that could go, this doesn't seem right. I'm not crazy about this.
Yeah.
A lot of black guys weren't cool with it. They didn't want to be fucking jabbed with that. They didn't trust the government. I don't blame them.
Right.
And now none of us trust them. So here's
sure.
what it is. So Aaron Rodgers, I think, by having him on today, just to mention Bill Belichick retired or got fired, whatever, from the Patriots, which happened today.
Yeah.
That was the guys like, we're going to have him on, blah, blah, blah. If these executives didn't want him on, this turns into a dick measuring contest.
Yeah.
Oh, you say I can't have someone on my show? Guess what? I'm going to have him back on in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You're not going to tell me who I can and can't have on the show.
And I would say, because of how you started this all, that's the difference between now and 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever. Is because, if ESPN wanted to, if this dick bag or whatever wanted to, says, that's it, Pat McAfee's off
Norby
ESPN.
Williamson or whatever.
Well, then he'll fucking just literally the next day record his own thing again out of his house, whatever he did before, and he'll be fine.
Of course he will.
I'm sure he has set up a Patreon or whatever he wants to do, and he'll be fucking making $1 million.
He'll make $1 million a day.
Right.
He's probably already making that.
So it won't really matter.
I did mention Bill Belichick. He's not done coaching.
Yeah, for sure.
First off, 100% he's not, because he's only got like 14. He's like 14 wins away from the all-time wins record. So there's no way he's not going to go coach a team at least to get that record, if nothing more. Robert Kraft spoke at a press conference to suggest the coach would probably like to find a job with a new team, saying it'd be difficult seeing him in a cutoff hoodie on an opposing sideline. Belichick said goodbye to his players and fans, saying he would always be a Patriot. Well, not always. Next season, in fact, you're not going to be a Patriot. So the man brought leadership and coaching skills that were needed to make this type of unprecedented success that we have had possible. Or you had Tom Brady.
It's got to be both. I feel like it's probably
on
both.
some level, for sure. But this idea he's the greatest coach of all time.
Well, I mean, that's just.
I mean, he's got 9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 wins.
Yeah.
Something like that. He's not. It's funny. I look back at I know more about the Niners than any other team. So that dynasty with Bill Walsh and Joe Montana. It feels like those guys got equal credit for everything. Like, it wasn't like, without Bill Walsh, could Joe Montana? Like, most people believe, Joe Montana would have done unbelievable no matter what.
Yeah.
And most people also believe Bill Walsh would have been a brilliant coach no matter who.
Right.
Like, that's so. When I think of these coaches and quarterbacks in history, I don't know how Belichick gets regarded. I
always wonder in general when it comes to, all this kind of stuff. Acting. I've had the same thought about acting where it's like, I know it's hard, but how hard? And really couldn't, if the right person just got spotted, couldn't you maybe do that in reality? I don't know. You know what I mean? So with coaching and sports, I know there must be something. But on the same hand, they always say you really can't win without talent, but you need a good coach to use the talent, I guess. I just don't know what would have happened if it was somebody else. And
I think Brady's drive was going to take him where it took him.
Oh, maybe.
You know what I mean? That's my personal belief, is that dude was going to prepare the way he did regardless of who his coach was.
Right.
Now, when the NFL is simple. In the NFL, if you have a quarterback, you can compete.
Yeah.
If you do not have a good enough quarterback, you cannot. That's it.
Right.
So when you talk about, oh, he's the greatest coach of all time, well, then why are you letting him go? Why would you fire the greatest coach of all time?
Well, because sometimes I think like everything in life, even things that are good, you just need changes of scenery.
Sometimes. That's fair. But I wasn't just going with Belichick.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll is gone in Seattle.
Yep.
Fantastic coach. Mike Vrabel is gone in Tennessee. Fantastic coach.
Yeah.
And now Belichick. These are three people in the league who are regarded as tremendous coaches. What do all three of those guys have in common right now?
You'll have to tell me.
I'll tell you. Belichick has Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi as his quarterbacks.
Yeah, okay. I know what you're
Pete Carroll has Geno Smith. And Mike Vrabel has Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis, and Will Levis. Now, I like what I've seen from Will Levis. Maybe in the future, he's young. Malik Willis is young. But these are not guys that are going to dominate the league as far as quarterbacks go. So if you've already got the coach who you think is the greatest coach of all time, well, Mac Jones is taking you nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, Bailey Zappi is taking you nowhere. So if you've got one of those coaches, you look at rumors have circulated. Oh, he could be the new Washington Redskins coach, or he could be the Atlanta Falcons coach. Okay, in Washington, the Redskins have Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, and Jake Fromm, old Georgia quarterback.
Gotcha.
Okay, the Falcons have Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. No. If he wants to coach and he wants to have a legit shot, go steal the Chargers job. Go be the San Diego Chargers coach. I know what I'm saying, by the way, when I say that.
What do you mean?
Redskins.
Oh,
San Diego
I didn't.
Chargers.
You know what's funny? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So don't think I'm an idiot. Take the San Diego Chargers job and go do it with Justin Herbert. That dude's legit. That's a job opening right now with a legit top 6 quarterback, top 8 quarterback. That's how you get wins in this league. You're not doing it with Jake Fromm or Jacoby Brissett or Sam Howell. You're certainly not doing it with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, we'll see where that goes with him. But to me, there's one job out there that's like, that's the job. And it's the fucking Chargers. And whether Harbaugh takes that gig or Belichick wants to continue his run,
right?
Go take the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
And have yourself a
Would
quarterback.
he play well
right
in
now.
San Diego or L.A.? No offense, because they are playing in L.A. Would he play
well, nobody
in
gives
LA?
a shit in L.A.
No, but no.
So
yeah, it's true. I love that the town that has literally probably cares the least about sports has 2 NFL teams.
I know. Well, it's the biggest market. Outside of New York.
I know, but it's just kind of funny.
You just can't have a market that big and not have a pro team.
Yeah, I know.
But it's hard to get behind it. And when you're out there, you see why, dude. When it literally feels like June every minute of every day.
Yeah.
The blue skies, sun shining. There's always something to do. You're just not dealing with weather issues. Like everybody's outside. They're not sitting around inside on a December Sunday afternoon all day. They're just not doing it.
Yeah.
It's 70 degrees out.
Yeah, that's true.
Blast. You wouldn't. I mean, you'd still come in and watch your Lions,
I'd have to
but
be, you'd have to judge that based on if you grew up somewhere, I think. Because if you grew up here and moved other places, you'd have that instilled in you.
Well, that's what people usually say about out there is there's no LA Rams fans or Chargers
They're
fans
just
even
fans
because
of everybody else.
Yeah, because none of them are from there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's very rare that
obviously
people are from there.
a transient city.
Yeah,
for sure.
I thought you were going to go trans route. I'm like, Jesus, enough with the trans hate.
Hey, I mean, that's your department, Mike.
Wait, what are you talking about? I haven't mentioned trans once.
That's true. That's true. You haven't.
Not once.
You thought I was going to.
What do you think of Michael Irvin, by the way?
I don't know. I don't have any real thoughts on him. Sorry. Let me. Okay. Sorry. I'll try to give an opinion, I guess. But I don't know. I guess
you know who Michael Irvin is?
Yeah, football player, right?
Number 88.
Yeah,
Hall of
Dallas,
Famer from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, won 3 championships.
Yeah, I don't. Was he Showtime? No, that was Dion. He was on that team, though.
Dion was prime time, but sure.
Prime time, whatever. I don't know. I don't have any. To be honest with you, I don't have any thoughts on him. And actually, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Well, really, do you believe where there's smoke, there's fire? Are you one of those people?
That's what they say.
But I know. But I'm asking you personally. Are you one of those people that believes where there's smoke, there's fire?
I mean, when I'm making a fire,
there is smoke.
Goes, yeah.
Well, Michael Irvin is being investigated in Texas over a vague allegation of misconduct.
Well, wait, didn't he have an issue already a while ago?
Well,
recently, or
that would be called smoke.
Oh, so that was our.
Do you understand?
The thing in the hotel, right? Or
Well,
something?
we'll get there,
Okay,
yes.
Sorry.
There's been an allegation, but we are not prepared to release any details at this time due to our investigation being in its very early stages. Allen PD Public Information Officer Jonathan Manis told Pro Football Talk. Without offering specifics, the Cowboys receiver is denying any accusation through his lawyer.
Yeah.
I ain't do shit, I
Right.
believe is his defense.
Yeah.
Irvin vehemently denies whatever he's accused of
Yeah,
doing.
whatever I've been accused of, I didn't do.
Yeah, I ain't do nothing. It's much ado about nothing, in fact, he said.
Right.
Irvin works for Fox Sports and NFL Network, has faced his share of legal problems both before and after his 1999 retirement. He was only recently reinstated by NFL Network for the 23 season following allegations of unwanted sexual advances at last year's Super Bowl, which resulted in his suspension and countering lawsuits between himself
That's the one I was thinking
and the
of for
Marriott
sure.
Hotel chain. Yeah. So
Marriott, by the way. It's Marriott.
It
Have
is?
you ever noticed that?
Marriott? It's
Dude,
Marriott?
I was listening to commercials recently, and
I thought it was Marriott.
No, they'll say, if you listen to commercials, they say Marriott. And I was like, dude, I have a fucking Marriott card, a Bonvoy card. And I'm like, I stayed at a shitload of Fairfields last year or whatever. And no, when we ended up Googling it, and it's like, it is a big misconception on the pronunciation of it.
Really?
It's Marriott.
Marriott.
And
okay.
if you Google
this
it,
is like Reese's
right, yeah.
controversy.
So it's Marriott. And like I said, if you Google it, they'll talk about how it's a big, people think it's this, and it's not. And they've gone out of their way, I think, now to really like.
What does Google say, though? I mean, because they don't give you a pronunciation. If you Google it, what is it?
We just found articles, I guess.
Oh.
We were at the house. We were watching the game. I said to Mongoloid Aaron Rodgers, I'm like, hey, how do you pronounce Marriott Hotel? Like, yeah, Marriott. Like, do you notice it's actually Marriott? And we rewound a commercial. They said it.
Yeah.
And my mom, like, now she's Googling it. And there was like, oh, it's actually pronounced this way. And people think it's this way.
Really?
Yes, it's actually Marriott.
Okay.
Apparently. It's just
all right.
not to be a Marin County situation.
By the way, you mentioned Google. Do you know what Google is?
What? Like what it stands for? You
What
mean, or?
Google? Well, yeah. What is Google?
No,
what that means?
I don't actually.
You want to learn?
Sure.
Google is one with a 100 zeros after it.
Really?
It's a number. Yeah.
Huh.
I learned that from my semi-genius nephew, Reed, who went. I posted a video. I don't know if you saw it. We were out to eat.
I saw it, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
I saw
it's
you
great.
posted it, but I didn't watch
It's great because I'm like, what comes after a billion? He's like, trillion. I'm like,
Yeah.
what comes after trillion? He's like, quadrillion.
Yeah.
And then he goes all the way, and then he's like, Google. And I was like, what the fuck is Google?
And it just won with fucking.
With 100 zeros.
Huh.
And then anything after that is called Googleplex.
I did not know that.
Yeah, right?
There you
See,
go.
we're learning shit.
Yeah.
9-year-olds can teach you an unbelievable amount.
For sure.
They're very, very smart. By
That
the
is
way,
funny though. I didn't know that
I
though.
was talking to my sister, because they're all worried about these kids and what's going on, and
Yeah.
like because they've all got the internet and they've all got these smartphones,
For sure, dude.
iPads,
It
computers.
would freak the fuck out of me
Yeah.
personally.
There was one kid. I shouldn't say this.
Oh
but
boy.
one kid.
Means you should obviously, but
Yeah. I won't be named names, and no, it's not a family member, but one kid in a family member's class
was already looking at what?
taking dick pics, and there's not even hair on the ball on the
Yeah.
field yet. Like, dude, you're taking bald dick pics.
You know what's funny? Not joking aside, but I mean for real, it's gonna be it's just gonna be whatever. They're just all gonna by middle school, they'll just all see each other's fucking shit.
Yeah.
It won't matter. It'll be fucking probably.
I said that's funny you said it because I was like, the only thing that could make this not a big deal, if it's because the fear is you're going to be 30 and then someone's going to go, here he is posting dick pics
I don't think it'll
when
almost
he's
matter.
6.
I think they'll just fucking have everyone will have one out there.
But that's what I was saying. It was like, maybe it won't matter because everybody will have a sex tape out there or a fucking.
We'll all just know what each other looks like fucking.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing it is now. And like, you're a weirdo if you don't have a dick pic.
You
out
go to
there.
go on a date and you're just like, well, let me see what she looks like sexually first. And
It's kind of like what we do here when it's like, well, pull her nude video up.
Yeah, you'll just pull up.
Just pull up her nude video. Let's see what
Like
she's
I got a
going
date
on.
with Jessica. Jessica so and so. Let me just
see what her video collection looks like.
Not bad. Not bad. Okay.
Work on that ass a little bit, but all right. Something to work with here.
And then she'll do the same. She'll watch your performance.
You could look at her ex-boyfriends, be like, all right, let's see what she's been saying all these years.
There was kind of whole new Black Mirror. I don't know how new, but whatever the newest season of Black Mirror was, had this whole episode about like fucking like with online date, with essentially like an online dating thing, but it was like of course, an extreme level. I don't know if you've ever seen Black Mirror episodes or watched it all,
I've seen a couple.
They had an extreme situation where like they would pick your date, like they just picked your dates for you. You'd go on like a date, and then like you had this watch, and on the date you'd have to be like both at the same time agree to see how long your relationship was going to last, and sometimes they would be 2 hours, sometimes they'd be a year.
Really?
Until you found your perfect match or something. It was bizarre.
So what if one person picked 4 years and the other one picked an hour?
You would each match, though. Like, if I was on a date with a girl, we'd sit at the table. Or guy, right.
Yeah.
And we'd sit at the table, and you would just hit your little thing, and it would say, your relationship is, 400 days or something.
Oh, it would pick for you.
Yeah, no, they'd pick for you.
Oh,
they
wow.
They would tell you what your relationship was going to be.
And so you're just stuck with this person for 400. Oh,
yeah,
I want to watch that. That sounds interesting.
Dude, they go through. I should almost not say more because you should watch it.
Yeah,
They go through some where one does end up.
That's Netflix, right? Black Mirror?
Yes.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, like one couple does hate each other.
Yeah.
And they're just like.
Okay. Well, anyway, don't say any more, and I'll check it out.
I won't say any more.
So going back to Michael Irvin and Marriott.
Marriott Hotel.
So they were counter lawsuits. Michael Irvin sued Marriott.
Yeah.
And Marriott's countersued
so weird.
Michael Irvin.
It's Marriott, damn it.
But we did get the claim in a court
I thought you were about to say the Klan.
No.
How you just kind of said it kind of slow?
No, I wasn't going to say the
Klan's getting involved?
I don't know what's on your mind right now today.
Well, Michael Irvin's black, so.
Yeah, well, no. We did get the claim by the Marriott in court papers before they settled out of court. So they settled out of court. And so, according to the Marriott,
yep.
So they had a female employee there, and I've seen video of this, and it looks like a very, very brief exchange.
Yeah.
Then Michael goes his own way. So he doesn't grab a titty. He doesn't cup an ass. He doesn't try to finger her vagine through her pants or anything like that. It looks like a very brief meeting. It's during Super Bowl week. And so the Marriott in this court claim says he asked the hotel employee what? What do you think, Isis?
And this is the person that he was in trouble for, right?
Yeah, this got him suspended and all that. He claims I didn't do shit.
But this is what he claimed he asked, or what they claimed?
The Marriott put this claim in a court
filing. This is what Michael Irvin said to our worker.
This is what Mr. Irvin said to our employee.
Fuck, it's got to be something like... something about his dick or something. I feel like it's got to be something. How would you like a Hall of Fame dick?
It's not a bad one. How would you like some Hall of Fame dick?
Some Hall of Fame dick.
Yeah. Okay.
How about them Cowboys?
He did not say how about them Cowboys. Well, apparently, what he asked her is, "Yeah, you know anything about having a big black man inside you?"
What do you know about that?
Yeah. What you know about having a big black dick inside you?
BBC.
You ever have a big black man inside? How would you like a big black man
funny
inside
for real,
you?
dude. And it's like even
you want that big black dick inside you.
Even though, like on a scale of percentages, it's very small, but like there's enough. Technically, there's all these football players and and bands and actors and whatever people that get to a level where they feel they can do this, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about it before, but it must be wild if this was what's said. If this is as a Marriott claims, but
again, it was. You know anything about having a big black man inside you?
Imagine if you got to the point where you feel like you can just say this.
Yeah.
And
do you know how confident you have to be in your presentation? Like, I can't imagine walking up to a girl and being like, "You ever have a big white man inside you?
Well,
how you doing? You want a big white dick inside you?"
I mean, think about
because that's subject. It's subjective.
You mentioned,
like one man's tiny might be another guy's huge.
Well, like you mentioned the girl on the plane the other day. Like you sat down, there was this young chick that was pretty fucking hot sitting right next to you. Let's put you in the position that you're a fucking, again, a former, big-time former NFL player, or or a fucking.
Am I hung too?
White, big black. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, but you just feel like you could. You have the realization that, like, I'm fucking who I am, and I can just lean over.
That would come from experience of being in clubs and stuff in different cities and having chicks like. Just going, why don't you take me in the bathroom and put that big black dick of yours inside?
Hell yeah, that is.
You know that's happening.
Absolutely.
To the point that you feel comfortable walking up to strangers. And you throw a few cocktails in them.
Right.
All of a sudden it's
even
like,
a Marriott worker.
Sweetheart, you know what it's like to have a big black dick inside
I wonder what the answer was.
Well, she apparently didn't like it.
Okay.
You know, maybe she's had too many of them inside her. I don't know. But that's what the Marriott claimed. Now, you know, that's a little bit of smoke. So we've got a couple instances of smoke here.
Yeah.
Irvin was accused of sexual assault in 2007 at a hotel in Hollywood. 4 years later, a settlement was reached in a civil lawsuit.
I wish we knew what the.
We just don't know. Maybe he asked her if she had, you know what it's like to have a big black dick inside.
Again, it must be this level of, like, it's worked before, you're a celebrity, you know, people know who you are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I'll just throw it out there.
Well, then in 2017, if you're looking for a little more smoke.
Yeah.
A 27-year-old woman accused Irvin of drugging and then assaulting her at the
27?
W Hotel. Yeah.
That's a little high.
Yeah, for him, yeah. It's a little old.
No Leo DiCaprio, I guess.
No. She accused Irvin of drugging her and then sexually assaulting her at the W Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, but he didn't face any charges.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is, you know, so that's 4 instances of smoke.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's a tough deal. It's such a tough. Joking aside, it's such a tough deal to me because there's a reason why people would lie about someone like him doing that. There'd be a reason to. But
why haven't 10 chicks come out about Christian McCaffrey?
I know that's
you know what I mean?
That is the thing though.
Why haven't they come out against? I'm trying to think of another black athlete. I can't think of.
Well, Emmitt Smith. Jeez.
Hey, yeah, no one's come out against Emmitt Smith. Jesus Christ, Jesus.
Spilled my Kool-Aid over here.
Yeah. Do you want to show the cam what you've got going on over there? You have a Lions. Is that a what's it called mug? Is that one of those nice ones?
It's not. It's just it's actually my dad's Christmas present that my brother.
I like
him.
It. Kool-Aid. It's Honolulu Blue.
It says the net like when you would put normally like ounces. Comes with 11.5 wins.
Oh, okay.
Playoff bound.
All right. Kool-Aid, Lions.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, all these people that are like, oh, you're drinking the Kool-Aid again.
Luckily, I have this towel for some reason.
Jesus Christ. Is that your towel or mine?
Mine.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
I can't remember what we were talking about.
Oh, the cool the idea of like I said, Emmitt Smith. I don't see people coming out saying
there's not a bunch, but it's like Deshaun Watson, where there's a little bit of smoke. There's 22 chicks.
And the funny thing is, there's a lot of these people that are banging all these chicks too. They're just you believe it or not, I think you can have both worlds. You can be a celebrity, be fucking railing through chicks, but do it, as weird as it sounds, mildly respectful. Like, I think you still can do it in a way.
At the same time, I personally know situations where athletes have been blackmailed.
Right.
For, like, pay me 10 grand or X.
I know, dude.
And these were guys that were not starters, that were not, like, big household names.
Yeah.
If a chick knows that you're an NFL-level talent or player, they can do that.
I know.
They could just make an accusation, and what are you going to do?
Right.
It's either pay her or it becomes now it's in the papers potentially. And if you've got a chick with no shame at all, none, is just looking for a fucking quick 10 grand, 20 grand.
Yeah.
You can run into that situation.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want my name in the papers. I'm trying to make a fucking roster here.
Right.
I don't need any negative press. I'm better off just paying this broad.
Yeah.
So that does exist, which is why the whole believe all women was nonsense.
Right.
Absolute nonsense. No, some women are absolute psychos.
Yeah, yeah. And it would be a weird. It really would be a weird deal. Like, in reality, as much as every guy would joke about the idea of, again, just fucking soaking in pussy and all that shit. And
hell yeah.
I mean, in a weird way though, it really would be a better situation if you just had a fucking girlfriend or wife that you actually loved and just kept out of that shit. For a lot of reasons, other than getting your dick wet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's fun too. Running around different cities all over. These guys would have a Rolodex with broads in every city.
I know. It's just, I'm just saying though, there's reasons, there's benefits and negatives for sure. That's the deal.
Yeah. I think I'd take the lifestyle.
Oh, I would too.
You know what I mean? Like there's you just got to be smart. You got to be smarter. And when they're young, it's a problem.
Yeah.
You would think someone at Michael Irvin's level, he's in his 50s now.
Yeah.
Would not be caught up in shit
married?
in 2017, 2023. Like, he'd be past that stage. Or he'd at least been around long enough that he would know.
Yeah.
Like, no. I can't put myself in a compromising position with women at clubs. I'm too old to be in clubs. And I can't be put in the situation where I'm not surrounded by people if I'm going out to these public places.
Right.
Where it's not just me and a girl one-on-one, and she can say any damn thing she wants.
Yeah.
You know, it just seems like, dude, you've been around long enough. You're not 23 anymore. You're not a rookie. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why do we have 5 instances now where your behavior is called into question?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Are you Googling whether
I was looking at,
I think he's got kids.
Yeah, he is
That
married
doesn't-
since like 1990.
Yeah. That's
it's
a
been
good
a long
woman.
time
She's a
marriage.
good woman. Puts up with a lot.
Yeah. Well, she's getting a lot too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a trade.
Could be one of those relationships. She doesn't give a shit. She's like, whatever, dude. Just keep buying me
Yeah.
Marc Jacobs shit or whatever the
Right.
Gucci purses. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever the cool thing is. Because there are plenty of them out there too. Yeah, fuck whoever you want all over the world. Just
I would. I think if I
keep
were a
giving
girl,
me checks.
man, fuck yeah, dude.
Hell yeah, why not? We haven't talked about Toix in a long time.
Yeah, there's a
It's a new year, and so Teacher of the Year candidate is what Toix stands for. That title was invented on this show and reserved for pretty hot teachers that are banging their male students.
I know you said it before, but it really is just like it seems like it's just normal now.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like it happens. Like just absolutely it just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got a Missouri teacher.
Missouri.
And she's hot. I got to say, she's hot. She's been charged with raping a 16-year-old student. Raping. Rape to me is a very specific thing. I think of jumping out of the bushes and grabbing someone and throwing them down and sexually having your way with them against their will. You know,
Right.
You grab some girl at a party and pin her down and won't let her go, and you rape her.
Yeah.
Like against her will. That's rape. It's a very violent.
They probably what they're gonna have to
Awful
do is
thing.
come up with a new law to call what this is.
Yeah.
Like they have to
Because
come up with a new name for what it is.
Hot 20-something teacher banging 17-year-old male student hardly sounds like rape to me.
Right.
I mean, we've joked forever like that. Dude, kids living the dream. Are you kidding me? This kid's gonna be telling this story to his grandchildren.
Right.
About he was banging.
Well, it
this
won't
hot
even be a big
teacher.
deal by then because they'll all be having sex with their teachers. It'll just be a
Maybe.
thing.
The kid's dad is charged as well. Not with rape.
He knew what was going on and didn't care.
He was like, hell yeah. I think he was more of a high five dad than he was a, you're grounded.
Right.
So Haley Clifton Carmack, 26. There's a quick picture of her.
I'm looking at her, yeah.
Oh, you got pictures?
Here,
You want
let
to pull them up there
Sure.
for anyone watching us on YouTube?
I
to
wonder
see?
if you were a dad. What if, I don't know if I wonder if this has ever happened so far. God, I don't know what happened at one point, dude. There was a point where you would start to Google pictures, and like when I open up to another screen, they would be really small, and then you'd have
Yeah.
and they don't look as good blown up for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not bad. I wonder if there's ever been a situation in any of these, like in this one, where you said the dad found out and he was kind of like,
Hell yeah,
whatever.
That's my boy.
But what about maybe using that as a blackmail yourself and be like, hey, look at.
Yeah,
I know you're banging my son.
Yeah, but
I'm not
it's
gonna
a
say
teacher
shit.
making $30,000 a year. What are you going to blackmail her?
Well, with sex.
Oh, with sex. Yeah, Dad could pull that.
Yeah, like, hey.
Dad's not much of a looker. I saw a picture of
So
Dad.
see, there you go. Like, kind of
Yeah.
like, hey, I won't
So-
say anything if you make this.
We're going to call her Carmack for the rest of this. Haley Clifton - Carmack. We'll just call her Haley Carmack if that's cool with
Which
everybody.
means she has a husband, by the way. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What
She
a crazy
did.
deal.
She was arrested in Garden Ridge, Texas, and designated a fugitive from justice who was suspected of fleeing the state of Missouri. She was arrested on outstanding warrants for endangering the welfare of a child, statutory rape in the second, sexual contact with a student, and child molestation. She is currently awaiting extradition back to Missouri. Allegations against the mother of 2 who was recently divorced. Oh boy. Yeah, you get that recently divorced.
Yep.
Young, hot, still got
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's recipe for
Yeah.
very good and very bad, depending on who the person is.
Yeah. Well, it went, it's a dream for me, but
Yeah.
in reality.
No, recent divorcees are where it's at.
Yeah, they can be. They can be. So,
I'm sorry if I don't know if I ever told this, but one time I was up Mackinac with TCG.
Yeah.
And we ran into a recent divorcee that was out on the dance floor drinking and having a good
hell
time.
yeah.
And at one point, I don't know if this would have been true, but she said to Ty, if you pay for I'm about to get divorced, and if you pay for my lawyers, I'm yours for the night.
Oh.
She said that to him.
Yeah, well,
And,
that could be a very costly thing. I mean, that could have Mr. Chung Gross could have been on the line there.
I mean, what,
quite
thousands
a bit
of dollars?
Of money. Oh yeah, it could have been tens of thousands.
She had a guy friend there that was supposed to be keeping her in line. By the way, like he was there to like. He probably boned her at the end of the line.
Yeah,
himself.
of course he did. That's the only reason he was there. Yeah, I'll keep you in line.
Right, unless he's gay. If he didn't take advantage later that night, then he's stupid.
Yeah.
But.
So, allegations against this recent divorcee were first reported December 7th of 23. Another student at Lackey High School reported the rape to the school's resource officer, who contacted the sheriff's department. Jesus, stay in your lane.
Right.
Other student, what's the matter with you?
Other student, Jesus Christ.
The witness talked to the cops, showed them photos of the victim with scratches on his back, claiming the scratches were from Haley after the confidential victim had sex with her in the witness's driveway. So this dude's banging his teacher in his buddy's driveway, and this fucking narc goes to the cops. So I don't know if it must have been a female friend of his or something.
Yeah.
This witness also told law enforcement that Mrs. Carmack had been reprimanded before for being too close with students. Ooh, one of those, where they had to pull her into the principal's office.
You know what's funny? There's this girl.
Give her the what for over her behavior.
I don't know her name, but she comes up in my reels all the time on Facebook. And there's this she's a teacher and she's pretty attractive. And she does these basically, TikTok / whatever you want to call these things. Videos all the time of her in class, and she's and regularly in the one video, the only people she ever talks to is guys. And when you go down the comments, everyone's just it's so inappropriate. This girl, all she talks to is guys. Notice she never talks to any of the female students.
Chicks
and all
don't
that
like
shit.
chicks.
No, I know. It's just kind of, and
part.
she's attractive too. It's kind of funny.
Well, Ms. Carmack, this will shock you. Wore tight clothing to show off her figure.
No way.
Yeah, and discussed with students the vulgar reasons for her divorce. So she wanted.
Why is?
What would that be if you're talking to your
By the way,
students?
this is a little. I think this is better. This one.
Yeah,
That's
that one on the right.
Smoking,
dude. And she's not a home ec teacher. She's a fucking math teacher.
Yeah.
So she's not a dummy.
She's attractive, man, for sure.
She's hot as shit. That's a mugshot. She looks hot in a mugshot.
I agree. Yeah.
To look hot in a mugshot is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
You remember the hot felon?
Oh yeah.
Remember that was a mugshot,
yep.
and that dude became a fucking model, global model because of it.
The hot felon.
The hot felon. Remember that?
Just some guy who got arrested and he was hot. So
he had those deep blue eyes.
Yes, and he got
in Southern California,
kids.
I believe.
And we all know who we do anyway. But
yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, she looks hot as shit on the right.
Yeah, she's smoking.
So she's wearing tight clothing.
Imagine her.
So hold on, E. Shut up.
Sorry.
So discuss with students the vulgar reasons for her divorce.
Well,
so give me one example.
Chicks? I mean,
no. Discuss with students the vulgar reasons for her divorce.
What I'm saying. Is she talking about infidelity? Is she saying my husband was
my husband was cheating on me?
Yeah, he was banging some other chick or something. I mean,
could be.
I mean that'd be.
All I want him to do is blow a hole in my ass, and he won't
just never
do it.
Go down on me.
Yeah, that would be one.
Fady on her hands.
His dick was so big, I went down on it, puked on his stomach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those would be vulgar reasons.
Right.
Sorry, Mrs. Bully, if you're listening. Shit, I should warn you before we do these. I know it's tough for you. So police confiscate her phone. Oh boy, think about that. You don't want your buddy holding your phone for 1 minute, let alone the cops. Imagine what's going through your mind. Oh my God, the amount of vagine pictures I have in here of myself.
Yeah.
The day after she left the state to visit family, quote, in Texas, Carmack's roommates told cops that she had moved to Texas to live with her family down there and that they're not sure when she's going to return. The victim's father, Mark Crichton. All right. So it's the student, I'm assuming, is Mr. Crichton.
Right.
We don't know. Now, Mark was arrested as well, the dad.
Yeah.
Charged with endangering the welfare of a child. Another witness told law enforcement that they told Crichton about the rape of his child and that Crichton said he knew. Yeah, I know. I know my son's being raped on the regular.
Right.
By this smoke show. Are you kidding me?
I'm jealous.
Don't we all wish we could be raped by someone as hot as her?
Yeah.
Creighton told police that the math teacher and his son had other students act as lookouts so that they could bang in the classroom.
Now, were they getting some action then? I'm not just playing. No offense. I mean, I get
well,
bros
they're
for
stupid kids, so probably not. They're not leveraging this to their
no
own
offense.
benefit.
Bros for hoes, and I'll help out a guy, but dude,
Yeah.
I think in that situation, you should be able to be tagged in. I'm not just gonna watch guard and then not get a fucking something
handy out of it at least. At least a handy minimum payment would be a handy, right?
Yeah.
Minimum.
What was the like the call? You know, like you have to like yeah, right. Like there's got to be a sound or something that you're gonna say. And what does that mean? Principal's coming?
Yeah, it doesn't mean the
How many
kid in class
were
is
there?
coming.
2? And like,
Yeah, you got to look north and one's looking south.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're looking out. So the dad says this. My kid and his whore teacher had other students as lookouts so they could fuck in the classroom.
Sounds like Frank Reynolds from Always Sunny. His horror teacher.
Yeah.
Sounds like Frank Reynolds from like Always Sunny. He always describe his ex-horror of a wife. But
Yeah, well, Frank brings up a lot of good points.
his horror. So my son could have sex with his horror teacher.
Yeah.
Like,
There's nothing wrong with that.
classy.
Creighton knew of the relationship. Again, Creighton is the dad.
Yeah.
Knew of the relationship, and instead of reporting the information, he continued to cover for them and allowed the relationship to continue, even allowed Haley to come over to their house and see the victim while he was present.
This dad's filming it on some level.
Maybe. He could have been.
He's got to be filming
What do
this.
you expect him to do? Kick her out and be like, get out of here, you. I don't need some hot whore teacher naked in my house
Well,
with
I
my
certainly would
son.
have turned it in. I hope he was boning her on his end. I mean, doing all that shit, he should be getting some too, to be honest with you.
So the witness said when they told the Creighton, when they told Mr. Creighton, by the way, your son's being raped by his smoke show of a math teacher. He went, and they were like, you need to go to the police. He was like, yeah, why? He's fucking his teacher. They're going to just do it behind my back otherwise. So I might as well just let it happen.
Might as well watch.
Yeah, might as well film it. It's exactly what he's thinking. He's like, what? That's going to stop him? Are you kidding me?
I don't know
The
if he-
juices that are flowing with this kid right now? He's 16.
He's basically using the keg in the basement defense. Like, oh, if you're going to drink, let them drink in
be
my,
in my
house.
house.
Like, I know they're safe here.
Yeah.
Then why are they, by the way, if that's the case, then why were they even doing it in school?
True.
Why not just
if
always
you could
be
just
doing
go back to Creighton's house, you know?
What a family situation that must be.
Hell yeah.
And so what's going to happen with this kid?
Here's the thing. And we've said it 1,000 times, and this is why we joke about it. I just think mentally there's a big difference between men and women.
It's a massive difference.
Massive. And this kid is going to be high-fived by everybody for decades. He just is. It's not going to break him. It's not going to destroy him. He's always going to have that story of like, yeah, I was taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Banging my super hot math teacher. I mean, and it's not like she was 70.
Yeah.
And it's not like a 70-year-old male math teacher
No, it's
banging the 16-year-old chick in class.
Yeah.
No. This is a popular kid banging the hot teacher.
Definitely.
You know, someone's got to bang her.
Right.
So, all right. Should we get to some emails?
Sure.
I'm too excited.
I hear you.
Too excited.
As your friend Drew would say, I wish I could just skip to
Fast
Sunday.
forward?
Yeah, fast
Yeah.
forward to Sunday night.
Yeah,
It's going to be
I'm
8
with you.
o'clock on Sunday night right now.
I'm with you.
I'm ready.
I'm excited to watch some playoff football. Is just next level. So I'm excited to see it's Saturday night at 8, I believe, is the Chiefs and Dolphins game.
If you get Paycock.
Yep, I do.
Okay.
I do. I'm not missing a playoff football
Gotcha.
game. It's
Yeah,
just
I
not
hear
going to
you.
happen.
I hear you.
So, I did want to mention we have a new member, Mr. Kenneth Lee. Thank you, Ken. And I'm sure some of you have been worried about where we've been, where I've been. I was gone for 3 weeks. It was a scheduled vacation with family.
I mean, it was the holidays.
And it was the holidays. And it was, I'll be honest with you, it was a little tense around here. So I wasn't running down here and doing a lot of, I planned on doing quite a bit of member content before I left, and it just didn't kind of work out that way. Yeah, so please bear with me. But Kenneth, thank you so much for becoming a member, and thank you to everybody that has stayed a member. I got some messages from people while I was out of town like, hey, when we sign up, is that still going to you? I don't know when you're coming back. I was like, yeah, dude, I'll be back on Monday.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm not bailing. And even if I leave, even if I move, you know what I mean? This show will go on. On you know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't.
There
have
is
to
an
be
internet
here. Exactly.
thing now these days. You can,
So hopefully, Kenneth, you'll be with us for a very long time. But I want to thank you personally for becoming a member. I'll do some member content this weekend. Maybe I'll do some Drew and Mike pause.
Nice.
That's fun. People really enjoy that.
I'm sure, dude. I'm sure.
Yeah. So I've got to find some good ones and go there. All right. T-Roy. Miguel. Been here since the Drewcast days, and I'll be here until whatever.
Never mind. No.
Got an in-studio visit a long time ago, and when I rang the doorbell, some gorilla answered the door. Can I help you? Me. I'm here for the in-studio visit. This is Radio for One Studios, isn't it? Gorilla. I have no idea what you're talking about. Starts to close the door. Oh, okay, I must have the wrong address. Nah, I'm fucking with you. I'm Troy, Mike's new roommate. Come on in. That was the first time I've met him. He went on to explain that he moved in that day and was super nice. It was different going from Jay to Troy, but I love the show both ways. You're our cult leader, and we'll be here for you. Oh, and I do enjoy Eezus, too.
Ooh, finally.
Your fellow monster, Jason.
Finally.
Yeah, some love for Eezus. Hey, I'll tell you this. Doing this with one person is hard. Doing this with no persons is impossible. So if you are enjoying the fact that we're doing shows this week, you can thank Eezus for that. Because without Eezus, I wouldn't be able to do anything. So
thank you, Mike.
big props to Eezus.
It moves the needle, as they say.
Absolutely. You know what, buddy? You've been with me for well over a decade.
Which is crazy.
I know it is. But it's not lost on me. I don't take that for granted. I love the fact that you're here, even though you can annoy the fuck out of people, and sometimes even me.
I'm sure.
But dude, I wouldn't be able to be here right this minute doing this if you weren't here. So.
Nar me with you, Mike.
There you go. And so I hope people appreciate that, and we'll give Eezus a little bit of respect and love.
I would say, you know what's funny? I drove home yesterday, for whatever it's worth. I do try to say to myself something. I don't think I'm the best second. I'm not meant to necessarily be a co-host. I think I can sit in here and there, but I'm better as a third guy.
I think you're perfect as a third, but
I would say is it's not something I do regularly. So I still sometimes have to get back and do it myself.
Oh yeah, and
I feel better about today than I did yesterday. I'm not even kidding.
Oh yeah, as far as knowing stories. And dude, when you were here before I left.
Yeah.
That show, I ended up cutting all the news because you'd been so out of the loop.
Yeah.
You hadn't paid attention to shit. And I quickly realized, okay, this is going to be a show where we're just talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know, he's not up to speed on any of this shit. It's going to sound stupid.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There is, believe it or not, there is a level of prep that goes into it so that you sort of know what's going on in the world.
Right.
We all appreciate Eezus, you doing the little bit you have, and it helps. Subject, Taylor Swift. Michael, welcome back, my friend. Happy New Year. I am watching the video with you and E, and you're talking about Taylor Swift. Yeah, we're a couple of huge Swifties.
Right.
Huge. There is a podcast called The Rock and Roll Geek Show, hosted by Michael Butler. Anyways, years ago, 2017-16, he does an interview with Detroit's own Derek St. Holmes. All right, Ted Nugent. And in there, he briefly talks about a 13-year-old Taylor Swift and what unbelievable amounts of talent she has. It's about 45 seconds of the podcast, but it's kind of cool. And the whole Derek St. Holmes interview is fantastic if you're a Nugent fan. Again, welcome back, Michael. It's good to have you back on the show, Doug. Yeah, thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. That sounds like it'd be an amazing moment, talking about a 13-year-old Taylor Swift.
Right.
And I guarantee you, she's,
I would say this, by the way.
Talent's undeniable, no doubt about it.
When you said, not to go on and on about Taylor Swift, but when you did say yesterday that she writes her own songs, you also said she's not really super racy. She's a girl. She tries to dress hot and attractive on stage, but she's not singing wet ass pussy and shit like that.
Oh, 100%.
And I would say that's the thing. Her songs are relatively clean.
Yeah,
that's the thing too. They're not.
They're kind of
songs here and there,
chick empowerment and stuff like that, which is fine. Good for them.
But you know what though? I would say, and again, I don't have anything against wet ass pussy either. Personally, well, I kind of.
It's kind of disgusting, actually.
But
I'm no prude.
But like her song, like she has a song called what is it? The Man or something.
If I Was the Man.
If I Was the Man. I think it's a great song. And my point is that to me, if you want to point at something that's women empowerment, that is women empowering. Not just
Did we not talk about that song?
We did not talk about that.
My dad hates that song.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he feels like men in general are under attack and he's done with it. But I was talking to him about it. Hold on.
Okay.
I was talking to him about it. I said, Dad, if you listen to the lyrics of this song, because I'd never heard the song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
I was like, this is a great song, and there's nothing wrong with it. If she was a guy like Leo DiCaprio and Saint-Tropez, they would be celebrating like, oh, he's crushing all the pussy.
Right.
There's no doubt about it. If she were a man, she'd be the man.
Yeah.
You might. I think I was telling my dad, I'm like, I think you're looking too far into this and looking to be hurt or something.
Yeah.
I said, there's nothing wrong with this. If girls absolutely get shamed. We do it on this show.
Right.
You know,
Just
look at
did.
this 2-bit whore. Look at
Yeah.
this whore. Like we're bragging up the guy for banging the hot teacher,
Right.
but she's just the whore teacher.
Yeah.
You know, where if it was
She has a story too. Technically, there's a reason
Yeah.
she got to the point she got.
sure, and it's fun to do that. I take no shame in that, and I'm not apologizing for anything. But it's the reality of the world that,
Yeah.
that men and women are looked at as different, and guys are forever going to celebrate the guy that gets the most, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And that's sort of what that song is singing about.
And like I said, you could argue look,
There's
that
nothing
is
wrong
more
with it.
empowering. I'm sorry, than just saying, "Hey, I'm sexual. I have a pussy."
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like that's an actual song where I would, if I had Kaylee listen to it and go, I would be like, "Yeah, you should listen to this. This
Yeah.
is good. This is nice to have a woman out there singing something about."
Yeah,
this.
and she's probably the biggest artist on planet Earth right
We have
now.
a
It's
very
woman.
we have a
Good
really
for
big
her.
listener. One of the sisters that actually got us the whole thing of the key to the city in Houghton, the two sisters
Yeah,
up in
yeah,
Houghton.
yeah.
One of them is
They're
really,
hot, too.
They are attractive.
Yeah.
I tried to ask one of them out and didn't work
Oh,
out. But
whoa, what happened?
oh my god,
When was this?
That was a few years ago. I never would have told you guys this. Then.
Oh, you got was she just like as fucking?
You know, we were not. She was nice about it. You know, we had spent a lot of time talking. We had spent a lot of time
I'm
talking back
embarrassed.
and forth. It was, dude. So here's what happened. I'll tell you what happened in a very short nutshell.
Okay.
I'd gone up on a trip. We had always kept in contact after the Key to the City, and they were very cool, very nice.
Yeah, they were attractive women. I don't blame you for keeping in
and
touch.
cool and shit. I've done stuff with them. They saw Pat Green with me a few years ago, even in Texas. So that's
All
how
right.
long. But we'd been.
So how long had you been thinking about making a move?
Me and one of the sisters had been talking a little more regularly than the
All
other
right.
one, and I don't know. I thought, oh, maybe there's something here.
Yeah, I'm a big star on a podcast. So why not?
And I went up on a trip up there, and I even asked the other sister. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about saying
Oh, and
something.
she sold you up the river. She
She-
was like, "Oh yeah,
She
Jeff
did-
really
she
is."
recommended I don't do it,
Oh,
and
and you decided not to take her
and
advice.
you know what I decided? The reason I decided to finally do it, I will say this, is my whole life, a lot of times when I've had these girlfriend situations,
Yep.
I don't say anything, and I let it build and build and build till I just get mad, and it ends everything.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle it.
So
let it
what
grow
was
too-
her reason for suggesting that you not do this?
Just didn't feel like it was there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just
All right.
didn't feel like it was a mutual feeling.
Were you thinking, oh, she's obviously jealous. She wants me to ask her out.
No, because she's
She
married.
clearly wants me to ask her out, but I'm married, so I can't act on it anyways. So
maybe.
I'm not going to have
I don't
this
know. I
stu-
never thought
I'm not
that.
going to have this stud in my orbit all the time with my sister.
And it was funny. I wasn't going to do it. And then I finally just said, I just, you know what? I think I need to. I need to finally be this person that
Yeah,
says it.
go
and,
for it.
And it didn't go my way. It was super.
So what did you say exactly?
I don't remember.
Would you
This
like
was-
to take me to dinner?
You know, looking back on it, you know what happened? We'd gone out one night, and then I was there 2 nights. We went out one night. Then the next day, we spent all day driving around, yada, yada. And we went out the second night, and I was leaving. And I walked out, and I said, for like the last hour, I was like, I think I'm going to say something. And like, I don't know. No, this
Yeah.
is stupid. I shouldn't. What's she going to do? She lives in fucking out of state, for one, by the way.
Yeah.
And she has a really nice job and makes a lot of money, and I don't.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, all arrows are pointing in the direction of do not ask this
And I
girl.
left the bar, and I just said, fucking just do it.
Yeah.
And I walked back in, did it. She just said that, I flattered, but,
So what did you
no.
say?
I don't-
I'd like
I
to go
honestly-
out with
I
you.
honestly
I'd
don't
like
re-
for you to take me out
I
sometime.
swear to God, I don't remember. But
I don't believe that, but okay.
I really don't, dude. It was fucking 3-4 years ago at this point, I think. But anyway, and then the funny thing after that was, afterwards, at one point, I was happy that at least I had fucking finally done something that I don't usually do. Usually I just keep putting it off. I don't tell the girls I
Yeah.
have this crush on them or something. And then I just get mad at some point, and it
Right.
fucking ends up. But the funny thing was that after that trip, I had to, originally I was going to go on and do different things. And I was so bummed that for the next 2 days, I ended up driving down to Green Bay. I didn't even really have a reason to go down there. I just
Yeah.
kind of drove.
Trust you.
I drove
Destroyed
around a
you.
few extra days just because I didn't want to go home right away yet.
Yeah.
And we didn't have anything to do here yet. I didn't have to be back yet or something. I was on the podcast here at the time. So
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how that necessarily came up. But
Did she tell you anything like, "Oh no, I'm a lesbian," or "No, I've really got a huge crush on Mike, so I can't go out with you"?
No, she didn't say that.
Like
no, she didn't say that. But
so what was it? Was it her face? Was it her titties? Her can? What were you like when you looked at her?
I am for one. I would say not to be. I'm a personality person. If someone has is definitely. I mean.
Oh, so it was just her personality.
She is good looking though. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I mean,
she just happens to be good looking too.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it was all about the personality.
I don't. I'm saying, but if she hadn't had if I didn't feel like maybe because we were talking a lot, like we were kind of texting back and forth a lot.
But it was really just the personality you were. So had she been an absolute pig, you would have been like, this personality is so strong, I'm going for it. You gotta
still be attracted to somebody on some level.
Okay.
I would say, but I would say there's a lot of girls I've been into in my friends. I had a friend in Holland that I was really into that Ty didn't think was that good looking, but she made me laugh. She was not ugly. But I'm just saying, like Ty didn't.
Well,
for
if
example,
Ty doesn't like her.
But my point is, I think there's been girls I've been into that my friends have sometimes been like, dude, they're not even smoking, like they're not crazy attractive, but I thought they were. For whatever reason.
Well, of course. Well, that's good.
Anyway, all this was a roundabout thing. Was like she was a big massive Taylor Swift fan, and she likes her because of that shit. A lot of that, she went and saw her on the Eras tour. I know that, but it was because
I immediately thought of Madison. I was like, I hope Madison rocks out to this song.
And she works in a job. I'm not going to say what she does exactly, but she works in a job that's very much male centric.
Yeah,
and she deals with the shit that's said in that song a lot, like things like that. Really hit her hard.
I'm sure a lot of women deal with that.
Anyway,
all right, couple more emails and we'll get out of here. Mike and E. Mike, please do not allow E.
Here we go.
To attend any playoff games. Remember what happened when E went to Chicago. If E goes to the game and the Lions lose, I'm afraid for E's life. Not to mention, we don't need a fair-weathered fan there. I'm begging you, Mike, tie that faggot up.
Let me show these.
That's what he called you. Your humble servant, Brandon. P.S. I've been to a dozen Lions games over the past decade, all losing seasons, and they won every game I attended, so I can take a seat.
I can show these pictures of me at 7 years old.
Did they win those games, though? And those were not playoff games.
Some of them, I don't know. You know what, though? I've been to a shitload.
If they lose, it's on you, dude.
I've been to big Piston
Brandon's not wrong there. If they lose, this one's on you.
I'm 1-0 with the Tigers, and the only playoff game. Oh no, I'm 1-1. Shit. Okay, so 1-1 with the Tigers, and I saw a lot of playoff wins for the Pistons.
Yeah, a lot of us did. They usually won.
Yeah, well, I know.
There's too much on the line.
I am worried. The biggest Lions game I've ever been to that they needed a win, believe it or not, was like back in 2011 when they hadn't made the playoffs since like '97, and they beat the Chargers. The San Diego Chargers on Christmas Eve to secure the playoffs, and it was like the finally. I felt like it was that first time where people felt like Matt Millen was finally like done because he had been, it was the first playoffs we've been to since Matt Millen.
So was Stafford here? Was Calvin here?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
All right, last one. Hey, Mike, sorry to hear about your missing pots, pans, and utensils. Hopefully they reappear and were taken by mistake. Honestly, I think that some could have been. Okay. It's funny to talk about. I'm not terribly worried about it.
Yeah,
honestly, I've already replaced most of it, and it's just not that big a deal. If not, I recommend Calphalon hard anodized cookware, which you can find at Target and Kohl's. Tapas to your kitchenware.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've actually thought about going back to cable because the cost of combined streaming is so much. And if my friends and I stop sharing accounts, the price for just my household would be ridiculous. I was lucky enough to get Max with my phone plan. I've also thought about Plex because you can download stuff and store it on a server using VPN. But that is a lot of work I don't feel like doing right now. No, I got bored.
By the way, though,
I got bored. It seemed like too much work just reading that. Looking forward to seeing what direction the show goes in, and it's nice to have your voice in my earbuds again. Winky face, Amy. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. All's good. I'm not looking to brawl with anybody, have any. I'm not looking for enemies.
I forgot to mention, by the way.
Don't worry about my pots and pans. Everything's fine, and it could be as simple as. There's a lot of shit going in and out. Could have just as easily been. Oh yeah, I thought they were mine. So I'm not losing any sleep over it.
I forgot to mention, by the way, and it's not for everybody. And again, like everything, eventually it'll get ruined because it will become popular and they'll fuck it up. But there actually are some decent free streaming services out there. Like I don't know if you've heard of Pluto TV or not.
I've seen that. Is it Tubi?
Tubi's out
Is
there.
that one?
And some of them are legit. Like,
Is there one called VIX?
I don't know
something
about
like
VIX.
that because it keeps popping up through my Roku.
I'm not sure about that
in the
one.
kitchen TV.
But Tubi and Pluto are actually kind of legit. They have like TV shows and movies and shit like that on there. And
do they have
commercials?
commercials?
Yeah, but so does cable.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're free.
No. No,
And again, they'll get ruined at
some.
some point because then they'll get popular, and then they'll have to. Then all of a sudden, Pluto won't be free. But
Yeah.
there actually are some things out there that you can watch for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not. Sports is always the main issue. If you're a sports fan, that's always going to be your kryptonite. But if you don't care about sports, like Pluto would work for you. They literally have like lots of shit on there.
Yeah, I have.
And like some of it's on demand too.
You know what? You know what, dude? The way I justify it is, I have a job that requires me to watch a lot of shit.
Yeah.
To know what's going on in the media landscape and the sports landscape, just for what we do. It's a tax write-off.
Right.
So I'm not too concerned.
But for
about
other
it.
people, I would say.
For other people, for sure. And you know what? I should give people the. Someone shared with me how they're searching. I think it was on Twitter. Let me see if I can.
Oh, I bet they sent it to me too, because someone sent me something
About how to best find.
Yes.
Yeah, Jimbo says, fuck. It's My Movie. So this is the app I use to find what movie is streaming where. So if anyone's interested, MAIMOVIE, My Movie. It's a movie and TV finder. So if you're looking for an app to help you, if you're struggling like E and I were talking about yesterday of never being able to find anything or remember where it was, My Movie. MAI Movie. And use that app. I bet it's great. So actually 2 people sent me that. So all right, why don't we call it there, Isis? Next time we talk, hopefully Henson will be here. And we'll
Please.
yeah. I was hoping to have something for Monday as far as the show and going forward. My guess is that's not going to happen. There's been some hiccups. It's going to be everything's fine, but as far as like, oh yeah, first thing, I'll be there Monday, that kind of thing isn't going to work out like I had hoped. So you'll probably be stuck with Isis and I on Monday, which is great. I love talking to you, E.
Hopefully a Lions victory
Hopefully,
Monday.
Yeah, dude. Either way, I want you here and I want Henson here to talk Lions. And you guys are either going to be blowing each other because this is the greatest day in Lions history, or you guys are both going to be screaming about same old Lions and all that.
I believe if a victory were to happen on Sunday, I'm not going to talk about bawling. I believe I will cry. Well, I believe I might cry if they win.
Don't fucking string me along with something as cool as that. You videotaped that. Dan Vogt told me that at the Michigan.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, I'll be honest with you. I'm probably going to cry. I was like, great, pics and video.
Yeah.
If you start crying at the national championship game because Michigan won, I need video of you crying, Dan.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't sent me that. And I sent him that before the game fucking started.
Right.
And he brought up crying before I did.
Yeah.
So if you start crying at the fucking dome, dude, you have to take pics and video of it.
Yeah.
All right?
My fear would be is that you won't be able to see it, but I'll try.
No, I want to see a quivering lip, something. Tear running down your painted face.
I'll say like when the interception happened to win the division at Minnesota, I 100% like could not fathom what was happening. I ran outside and just was like beyond myself. I just was so crazy.
Your neighbors, they must be, the special kids outside again.
Well, it was funny because my mom, way back, right before when I came back here, they had lost the game, but then I raised the flag because I'll put the flag down at half mast, half mast if they lose, and up.
You might light it on fire if they lose this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be rough.
This is going to be a tough one. A tough game. We'll cut it there. We've gone long, but enjoy the game, buddy. I know you're going, and enjoy it, everybody else. And I'll do some member content for those of you out there. If you're ever looking for anything, radiofor1.com is the site to go to. You can get merch there, Amazon link, Amazon Canada, MyPillow. Just use promo code TDC. Thank you to all of you who have done that. Also, a link to our Patreon page. Best, easiest way to support the show for those of you out there that are interested in doing that, like Mr. Kenneth Lee did. Thank you again, Kenneth. Appreciate it. With that, we'll call it a day. We'll be back next week for sure, and hope you guys have a great weekend. Go